Hi everyone, Nathan here from Mighty Lancer Games. Here I have the brand new Horus Heresy 3rd edition rulebook, Age of Darkness rulebook. This is the rulebook, and this is the Liber Hereticus. Now the reason I've got both of these here in front of me is because I want to get a first dive straight in and see if they have edited some of the rules that I didn't really like about 2nd edition. So I don't like the way that people can put artificer armour on sergeants and characters attached to squads and then just roll all the saves against those models. Effectively, you've got a character dancing around in front of gunfire or hits or whatever in melee, and those hits aren't spread out across the unit. I just don't like it. And been hearing a little bit of speculation about chapter-specific rules. I play Alpha Legion and Night Lords for Heresy, so we've got this one so I can have a quick look at those and see what the new rules are actually like. So there we go, let's dive in and see what they have done. Okay, so I would have thought it would be in the damage. So wounds, it might be in the wounds section. Basic principles, right? 196, let's start there. Let's see what we've got. Bits about the different factions. Not interested in that right now. Oh, Alpha Legion. 196. 196. Wound tests. Once a unit has one or more hits inflicted on it when the rule has dictated the application of it. That's not the bit. Right. Let's start with. So it doesn't say in this section what order you have to allocate wounds or what have you to a unit. Pulls a bell. So let's have a look at the shooting phase, page 247. Let's see if it says here. Move to the next step. Once the total number of wounds or penetrating hits generated by the current fire group has been decided, the player that controls the target unit must select the initial target model. The target model may be any model in the target unit, does not have to be in line of sight or in range of any given model in the attacking unit. If any eligible model or has already had its wound characteristic or hull points negatively modified, having already lost wounds, but has not been removed, then such a model must be selected as the target model unless it also has the command subtype. Note that if a fire group being resolved includes wounds, then the target model selected may not have the vehicle type. Alright, yeah, good. While if the fire group being resolved includes penetrating hits, then the target model must have the vehicle type. Fair enough. If an appropriate target model cannot be selected, then all remaining wounds or penetrating hits in the fire group are discarded. If a fire group includes both wounds and penetrating hits, then separate target models must be selected for each. Once a target model has been selected, the players move to step 9, making saving throws and damage mitigation. In this step, wounds and penetrating hits are applied to the target model from the current fire group one at a time until either all wounds or penetrating hits in the fire group have been applied or the target model is removed from the unit as a casualty. This makes it sound as if it hasn't changed. Okay, but it does clarify things a little. So, you roll all the wounds against that one model, one at a time, until either all wounds or penetrating hits have been applied or the target model is removed from the unit as a casualty. To apply a wound or penetrating hit, first determine the target model may take saving throw. You can only attempt one saving throw per wound applied. If a saving throw is available, the player controlling the target model may attempt one saving throw per wound or penetrating hit applied, and if the saving throw is successful, the wound or penetrating hit is discarded. If the saving throw is failed, then the player controlling the target model may attempt a damage mitigation test. If any are available. If the damage mitigation test is successful, the wound or penetrating hit is discarded. So that would be like a feel no pain rule or something, I would imagine. Mitigation test is successful, the wound or penetrating hit is discarded, and if it is failed, then an unsaved wound or unsaved penetrating hit is generated and applied to the target model. Wounds or penetrating hits that are applied and not discarded due to a successful saving throw or damage mitigation test are referred to as unsaved wounds or penetrating hits. When applied, the target model must reduce its wound characteristic or hull points characteristic by an amount equal to the damage characteristic of the unsaved wound or penetrating hit, which is derived from the weapon for which the fire group was created, but may have been modified by certain special rules. If the target's wounds characteristic or hull point characteristic is reduced to 0 or less, it is removed from the unit as a casualty and placed to one side. Do not remove it from play until step 11, and a new target model must be selected using the same process as when selecting the initial target model. If the target model's wounds characteristic or hull point characteristic is not reduced to 0 or less, then the model remains in play and another wound or penetrating hit is applied to it following the same procedure as the first. The player that controls the target unit continues to allocate wounds or penetrating hits in this matter until either all eligible target models in the unit have been removed from the target unit as casualties, or there are no more wounds to be allocated. If there are any fire groups that have not yet been resolved and models remain in the target unit, then the players move to step 10. And if there are no more fire groups to resolve or models in the target unit have been removed as casualties, all models in the target unit have been removed as casualties, the players move to step 11. So step 10 is select the next fire group, and then you go back to step 6. Or you move to step 11, which is all models removed from the target unit as casualties must be removed from play. If the number or type of models removed will trigger a panic test or other checks in the morale sub-phase, then a marker should be placed by the unit to indicate this. Models with the vehicle type that have suffered glancing hits should have one roll made for them on the vehicle damage table for each glancing hit. Okay, so they haven't fixed it. This is the thing that bugs me the most about the game, and they haven't fixed it in any way to prevent people taking multiple wounds. So you can shoot, let's say you shoot a unit of Space Marines with a sergeant with artificer armour, which gives you a 2+ save, or did under the old rules, artificer armour, and you've inflicted 24 hits at an armour penetration value of 3. So the majority of the unit would get 0 save thrown from that because your armour penetration is better than an armour. But the guy with the artificer armour has a 2+ save, so he can make a save. So theoretically, you could make 27 successful saving throws by taking all of those hits against your sergeant and leave the rest of your squad intact, which is crazy. He's dancing around all over the place. I just don't like that at all. I was really hoping that they had fixed it. Maybe made it so that you could only take as many saves as his wound characteristic, and then you have to allocate wounds around the unit or whatever. I just don't like it. I think it sucks as a rule, and it doesn't look like it's changed. So maybe there's something else further in the book that says that there's some kind of stipulation, but there certainly isn't in that section. So not overly enamoured by that, unfortunately. There is a lot more stuff to go through there, but we're not going to look at that. We're going to look at this. Liber Hereticus. So let's see if I can get into this a bit easier than I got into the other one. Because I've heard from things on the Tinterweb so far that the night fighting rule, so the terror assault stratagem that I used to employ with my Night Lord's army, doesn't exist anymore because night fighting as was, doesn't exist under the rules. So I'm interested to see what benefits or what special rules the Alpha Legion and the Night Lords get. So let's dive straight into. Right, so that first section is all the basic stuff that all the legions can have, and then this page is faction specific stuff. So page 163 is the Night Lords section. Okay, Night Lords. So trophies of judgment. Give things fear, that's how it used to be, yeah, okay. Nostraman chain weapons. Anybody who's got the Night Lord's trait and the command champion or subtype, command champion or sergeant subtype may have a power weapon exchanged for a chain glaive of 5 points per model. Great, okay, so they've still got breaching and shred. Hopefully they still do the same things. And I'm not sure what these other stats are now. So you've got IM, wonder if that's initiative modifier, AM attacks modifier maybe, SM strength modifier, that'd make sense, but chain glaives used to be strength +2. And chain blades are not there anymore. We used to be able to have Nostraman chain blades. So they were strength 1, +1. And chain glaives were strength +2. That's a bit odd. Okay. Atramentar. If a Centurion in Terminator armor, Cataphracti command squad, Tartaros command squad, Cataphracti Terminator squad, or Tartaros command squad that has the Night Lord's trait is selected for a prime force organisation squad, the following advantage can be selected. Models in a unit selected to fill a prime force organisation slot with this prime advantage gain the deep strike and impact 1 special rules. Oh, that's good. So you can teleport your Atramentar to the table, which is alright. They still have a talent for murder. Night Lords have an improved weapon skill characteristic when fighting units that have tactical statuses. When locked in combat with any unit which contains at least one model which has any tactical statuses, don't know what a tactical status is, models in that combat with this special rule gain an additional modifier of +1 to their weapon skill characteristic until the end of the phase. Okay, I would imagine that tactical status is things like retreating or broken, maybe. When selecting a gambit, whatever that is, the controlling player of a model with the Night Lord's trait can select Nostraman Courage instead of others available to that model. Nostraman Courage. The Lords of the Eighth have long held this interest in honourable combat. When challenged, they are likely to encourage one of their inferiors to keep the foe busy while they attend to their own interests. This gambit allows the controlling player to switch the model that fights in a challenge. This gambit may only be selected once per challenge. If selected at the start of the focus step, this model's controlling player may immediately return the model to their unit as if it was the resolution subphase. If the controlling player chooses to do this, they must select another model from this unit. This can be a model that is not normally eligible to take part in a challenge. That model is removed from the unit and becomes the challenger or challenge model in place of the original challenger or challenge model that was returned to the unit. It's complicated, okay. Advanced reaction, better part of Valor. Allows a unit to fall back when it is the target of a charge. Why is that a special rule? Surely everybody can fall back. Okay. One thing. Terror Assault. Here we go. Terror Assault. Additional detachments. An army that has a primary detachment with the Night Lord's faction may select the following detachments. Terror Assault. The infamous speciality of the Night Lord's Legion was the Terror Assault, often conducted under conditions of complete darkness, whether natural or artificially induced. Such attacks were not just designed to overwhelm their foe, but to sow as much gut-wrenching terror from both their victims and any who were left to survive to tell the tale, so as to shroud whole worlds in a pall of fear. Troop slots in this detachment must be filled with terror squad units. Is that it? Okay. Atramentar Hunt. The Night Lord's first company, otherwise known as the Atramentar, was a hand-picked company of the finest killers in the Night Lord's Legion. What made them more unique, however, was their unusual, by the standards of the 8th Legion, loyalty to their commander, Jago Sevatarian, acting as his enforcers. They ensured others of their normally fractious legion did not deviate from their allocated objectives. Atramentar Hunt. Retinue slots in this detachment must be filled with Cataphractii command squads or Tartarus command squads. Heavy assault units must be filled with Cataphractii Terminator or Tartarus Terminators, and the only prime advantage that can be selected is the Atramentar. Conrad Kurz is pretty much the same stats as he used to be. Okay. Does he still... 450 points. Don't think so. In the previous edition, if you took Kurz, he used to give night fighting. Is it night fighting or night vision, and another special rule to all of the Night Lord's units in your army. And it looks like they've taken that away. If 4 or more troops battlefield role slots in the primary detachment are filled with terror squad units or assault squad units, then all force organisation squads with the troops battlefield role are considered prime slots. And all models in this army gain the Infiltrate 12 special rule. Okay, we'll have a look at that later. Sevatar. So Jago Sevatarian, as they mentioned in the previous thing. So he's pretty much the same as he was before. Apart from... So he used to have an ability that let him attack first. So I don't know, has he still got that? Dirty Fighter? Yeah, I think so. So he's good at stabbing people in before they get a chance to do anything. Right then. Conticar Terminators. They're standard. I'll have to have a proper read of these. Night Raptor squads don't count as terror squads. So you can't just take an army made up of fast assault stuff. You have to take terror squads now, by the look of it. It's fine. You know, I like to play mine as more fast attack. It does mean that I'm going to have to rejig some of the models that I use. But we shall see what happens with that. Nice pictures of stuff. And then let's get a look at the Alpha Legion section and see what's changed there. Okay. Right. Rewards of Treachery. So, Alpha Legion used to be able to take units from other armies, basically. So you could take Iron Hands Specialist Unit, Medusan Terminators, I think they were called, or Immortals, the Breachers that were heavily armoured, or I think Emperor's Children, Sun Killers, and variety of other squads from other armies that were special units, and you can take those and use them in your Alpha Legion force. So I think they've done away with that. Just skimming that over. I think it just means that you can take any unit and put it in any other slot in your force organisation chart. That doesn't seem great. Headhunter Leviathol is the standard detachment type or warlord trait it was, I think, that you used to build by. You can only have headhunter kill teams or seeker squads as part of that detachment as elite choices. Lies and obfuscation, that's a very similar rule than they used to have. What's this? I am Altharius. Even in single combat, the warriors of the 20th Legion relied on falsehood and misguidance to gain advantage over their foes. Rarely would their enemy give them the opportunity to glimpse the true face of their opponent, and instead would be taunted by fates and distractions until the killing blow was delivered when it was least expected. When this gambit is selected, the opposing player's model combat initiative is reduced. So it means you get to stab your enemy before they get to stab you, similar to Sevatar's rule that we just looked at. Altharius, so he's 465 points. He's slightly more points than Kurz. I think he's got better armour and stuff. But he means you can give some kind of reserve special rule to you guys. They've given Armillus Dynat. I think he's got more wounds now than he had before. So he's a special character for the Alpha Legion, like a company leader or whatever. He seems better than he was before, stat-wise at least. Regular saboteur, so you can take a saboteur, you can take headhunter kill teams. Can they still have multi-melters? Oh, and they can have heavy bolters now as well. That's pretty cool. So they get combi bolters. They only get Bane Strike combi bolters. So you used to be able to specify that they had melter combi weapons or plasma combi weapons, and now they just have a standard profile, which is interesting. Exodus, who is a Centurion character with a sniper rifle. He's pretty good. Linnean Terminator squads. So they are Cataphracti Terminators. Yes, they are Cataphracti Terminators. And they've fixed something that was not great, in my opinion, in their rules previously. So all of the guys come with a Volkite Charger and a Power Axe, and then you can upgrade. You used to be able to just upgrade from the Power Axe to Power Fists, and now you can give them either a Power Maul, Lightning Claw, Power Fist, Chain Fists, or Thunder Hammers, and then you can switch both weapons for a pair of Lightning Claws. That's good. And then for every 5 models in the unit, you used to be able to get a Heavy Flamer or a Conversion Beamer, but now you can also have a Reaper Autocannon or a Plasma Blaster, which makes them a lot more flexible than they used to be, which is great because they are the specialist Terminators of the Alpha Legion. They've also given them an extra point of toughness, which I don't know whether that applies to all Terminators in this edition, but they are now toughness 5. They've got 2 wounds, they've got extra attacks, they've got weapon skill of 5. They sound much better overall. And there's the usual pictures. So, quick summary of what I've just looked at, because I've obviously not got time to look at the entire book, but they've not fixed the rule that I hate the most about 2nd edition, which is a bit disappointing to me. I think we will continue to house rule in the store that they can only take as many wounds on any particular unit up to their initiative value until you start sharing wounds out around the squad. And in terms of the Liber book, which is this one, in terms of the Liber book and the changes to the Legion, I'm going to have a look at army building rules and what have you to see how much it really affects it. But I think that this is going to mean that the composition, certainly my Night Lord's army, is now irrelevant for this new edition. I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board and see what is and isn't viable in the standard 3,000 point army. So there we go. Quick summary of a couple of things I was looking for, but make your own mind up. When this releases in a couple of weeks' time, you'll be able to get your hands on these books and see what you think for yourself. I'm open to giving the game a whirl with just a couple, like I say, a couple of little house rules perhaps, but we'll see how it works, and hopefully you will enjoy it too. Thank you very much for watching, everybody, and we'll see you all soon.